الأسماء الذات مشيئة قدرات أول مسائل شرف سلطان ملك أيامها.
Like drops we flow and lose ourselves in the ocean of God's love, surrendering our will in His and uniting all as one. I in He and He in thee. Let's join together and see one God, one religion, one humanity.
Taha Jalal Jamal Azamat Nur Rahmat Kalimat Kamal Asma Izzat مشيئة قدرات أول مسائل شرف سلطان ملك أيامها.
Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to the Wondrous Baha'i Calendar podcast. Today is the day of knowledge in the month of knowledge. That is Ilm of Ilm, 181 BE. That's the Baha'i era. In our more common parlance, it's October 25th, 2024, and we're welcoming you to the Ilm podcast for the Wondrous Baha'i Calendar podcast. This meeting is being recorded and it will be broadcast subsequently. Generally, we expect to make the meeting publicly available the Monday after the recording. Our purpose for this gathering is to explore the many significances of the Baha'i calendar and to share ideas about how to implement the calendar for daily living. Throughout the program, you will hear us using both the Arabic and English names for the calendar and for the month, days, and weekdays. This is intentional. Our goal is to grow in awareness, understanding, and accessibility. Your host today, I am Tamara Bond Williams. I'm a Baha'i here in the Poughkeepsie area. I'm joined by Nancy Nelson Ewing in the North Carolina area and Cora Palazzolo way out on the West Coast in the Oregon area. I hope I got that right. I think it's Oregon, but she'll tell me if I'm wrong. In any event, I'm very happy to have everybody here, and we're going to kind of have a brief overview of the program. You've seen this program before if you've been here. If not, very briefly, we will have a meditation that will be led by Nancy Nelson Ewing. We will have prayers. We always do prayers for the month, for the day, and the weekday. We will have calendar concepts presented by Cora. We will have today's spiritual attributes. I will be doing that presentation. And then Nancy will come back with a bit about rubies. We're going to do a birthday shout out and we'll have a conversation, a very brief podcast conversation. Cora, Nancy, and I will be discussing the divine attribute of knowledge, followed by our arts social. As everybody knows, the Arts Social is in fact not recorded, so please don't be shy. We'd love to have you join us. And otherwise, with that, I'm going to invite Nancy into the space. Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you so much, Tamara, and welcome everyone. Thank you for being here and for joining us today. As Tamara mentioned, we are going to start right now with a meditation just to bring everybody into the space, bring everyone into the same frequency. So I am going to ask you to just make yourselves comfortable wherever you happen to be sitting in that space. Just get as comfortable as you can. Close your eyes and just start by relaxing your shoulders. Just let them drop and relax your forehead and then your neck. And now take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And continue breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth at your own pace. Now I'm going to ask you to place your left hand gently on your heart and your right hand gently on your belly. And with your eyes closed, just give us a nice warm smile. And continue breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. Deep breaths in and fill your body with that purifying oxygen, releasing the negative energy on the exhale. And with every breath, feel your stomach move out. And on the exhale, it's back in. And feel the beat of your heart. Really get in touch with the beat of your heart. And be the heartbeat. Be that heartbeat. Become one with that heartbeat. And be the breath. Be the breath and feel the breath connecting your body and the energy of your smile. As you inhale and exhale, and let that energy signify the divine creation, God's love. Every breath you inhale, feel that divine light and love of creation soaring gently through your body. Envision it coursing through your body with that divine, loving energy. With the energy of gratitude and protection. Inhaling, exhaling, relaxing with every exhale, sinking deeper and deeper, allowing that breath to bring in vitality and releasing ancient wisdom and knowledge through your DNA. The knowledge of the universe is all there. Just allow your breath to help you get in touch with that. Inhale, exhale, feel the energy of one universal love for all living things. Powerful energy of love. And keep smiling. And as we're sitting and smiling and breathing, I'm going to bring in the vibrations of the singing bowl just to help elevate and connect us all with the vibrations. And when the sound of the singing bowl stops, just allow yourself a few seconds before opening your eyes and being present with a renewed spirit and vitality.
in the name of God, the Most High. Lauded and glorified art thou, Lord God omnipotent, thou before whose wisdom the wise falleth short and faileth, before whose knowledge the learned confesses his ignorance, before whose might the strong waxeth weak, before whose wealth the rich testifieth to his poverty, before whose light the enlightened is lost in darkness, toward the shrine of whose knowledge turneth the essence of all understanding, and around the sanctuary of whose presence circle the souls of all mankind. How then can I sing and tell of thine essence, which the wisdom of the wise and the learning of the learned have failed to comprehend, inasmuch as no man can sing that which he understandeth not, nor recount that unto which he cannot attain. Whilst thou hast been from everlasting the inaccessible, the unsearchable. Powerless though I be to rise to the heavens of thy glory and soar in the realms of thy knowledge, I can but recount thy tokens that tell of thy glorious handiwork. By thy glory, O beloved of all hearts, thou that alone canst still the pangs of yearning for thee, though all the dwellers of heaven and earth unite to glorify the least of thy signs, wherein and whereby thou hast revealed thyself. Yet would they fail how much more to praise thy holy word, the creator of all thy tokens. All praise and glory be to thee, thou of whom all things have testified that thou art one and there is none other God but thee, who hast been from everlasting exalted above all peer or likeness, and to everlasting shalt remain the same. All kings are but thy servants, and all beings visible and invisible, as naught before thee. There is none other God but thee, the gracious, the powerful, the Most High. Baha'u'llah.
O God, my God, thou art my hope and my beloved, my highest aim and desire. With great humbleness and entire devotion, I pray to thee to make me a minaret of thy love in thy land, a lamp of thy knowledge among thy creatures, and a banner of divine bounty in thy dominion. Number me with such of thy servants as have detached themselves from everything but thee, have sanctified themselves from the transitory things of this world, and have freed themselves from the promptings of the voicers of idle fancies. Let my heart be dilated with joy through the spirit of confirmation from thy kingdom, and brighten my eyes by beholding the host of divine assistants descending successively upon me from the kingdom of thine omnipotent glory. Thou art in truth the Almighty, the All-Glorious, the All-Powerful. Abdullah.
O Lord, render victorious thy forbearing servants in thy days by granting them a befitting victory, inasmuch as they have sought martyrdom in thy path. Send down upon them that which will bring comfort to their minds, will rejoice their inner beings, will impart assurance to their hearts and tranquility to their bodies, and will enable their souls to ascend to the presence of God the most exalted, and to attain the supreme paradise in such retreats of glory as thou hast destined for men of true knowledge and virtue. Verily thou knowest all things, while we are but thy servants, thy thralls, thy bondsmen, and thy poor one. No Lord but thee do we invoke, O God our Lord, nor do we implore blessings or grace from anyone but thee, O thou who art the God of mercy unto this world and the next. We are but the embodiments of poverty, of nothingness, of helplessness, and of perdition, while thy whole being betokeneth wealth, independence, glory, majesty, and boundless grace. Turn our recompense, O Lord, unto that which well beseemeth thee of the good of this world and of the next, and of the manifold bounties which extend from on high down to the earth below. Verily thou art our Lord and the Lord of all things. Into thy hands do we surrender ourselves, yearning for the things that pertain unto thee. The bow. Okay. Well, welcome, 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 welcome. Cora, I think you're up next.
I am, and I'm going to share my camera here in just a minute. Interesting. There we go. Oh, of course, it helps if I press the share button. And I'm hoping you're looking at the slide that says Life Recast.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So I wanted to start this calendar concepts part with reminding us of the genesis, the quote from the Universal House of Justice letter, July 10th, 2014. This is when they talked about the adoption of a new calendar. So I'll just read this. The adoption of a new calendar in each dispensation is a symbol of the power of divine revelation to reshape human perception of material, social, and spiritual reality. Through it, sacred moments are distinguished, humanity's place in time and space reimagined, and the rhythm of life recast. And that's what we're doing in this Baha'i Calendar podcast, is we're looking at reimagining the rhythm of life. So I'm sorry, trying to get it to go to the next slide. And, oh, there we go. So in this reimagining of the Baha'i calendar, I've looked at it as a cyclical scheme. So here you see the circle of the 19 months. Every year in the Baha'i calendar begins with splendor. Then we go to glory, beauty, grandeur, light, mercy, words, perfection, names, might, will, knowledge, power, speech, questions, honor, sovereignty, dominion, and loftiness. And I've just read the English words for the Baha'i calendars. Here we have the Persian translations of those spiritual qualities. So here, this is the 19 months in one Baha'i calendar year. And we are looking at this version includes the elements, which Tamra will go into more with her cards. We're looking at, we are in the month of knowledge or ilm. And a couple days ago, this would have been on Wednesday, it was the 9th day in the Baha'i calendar. So one of the fun things about the Baha'i calendar is the names within the days of the month. So here we have 19 days and 19 months. The names are the same as the names of the months. So we are in the month of knowledge, and on Wednesday, it was the 9th day in the month of knowledge, or the day of names. So advancing the calendar, then we had the 10th day in the month of knowledge, and that was the day of might. That's my daughter's birthday, and she is a mighty knowledgeable person in her profession. And then yesterday, or in my part of the world or of this country, right now I'm still in the day of will in the month of knowledge. But when the sun goes down, and I think it has on your side already, we will be in the day of knowledge and the month of knowledge. And we like to call this a signature day, the day of knowledge in the month of knowledge, or knowledge squared. And this is the card that was created for knowledge squared. Day and night you must strive that you may attain to the significances of the heavenly kingdom. Perceive the signs of divinity, acquire certainty of knowledge, and realize that this world has a creator, a vivifier, a provider, an architect. Knowing this through proofs and evidences and not through susceptibilities, nay, rather through decisive arguments and real vision. That is to say, visualizing it as clearly as the outer eye beholds the sun. In this way, may you behold the presence of God and attain to the knowledge of the holy divine manifestation. This was taken from a talk by Abdu'l-Baha and recorded in the Promulgation of Universal Peace. I just wanted to add this also. I look to the calendar as a method to bring myself to account each day. This is a quote in Baha'u'llah's writings, the hidden words. He says, bring thyself to account each day ere thou art summoned to a reckoning. As I mentioned that quote from the Universal House of Justice, it is a time of where sacred moments are distinguished. So we're spiritualizing time by attributing the spiritual qualities of the names of the days and the names of the month. We're keeping those in mind. I see it as a method also to enrich our devotionals and our feasts. I've used it for project management and getting things done around my house, especially the days of might and will, right? And then also to engage in meaningful conversations. I see that there are, well, there's many more secrets within the Baha'i calendar than just these 4, but I have grouped them into the names of the days are the same as the names of the month. That's secret 1. Secret 2, the elements in the calendar. And as I said, Tamara will talk more about that. Secret 3, the elements in sacred scriptures. In all the sacred scriptures we can look to, we can find reference to the elements. Ye are the stars of the heaven of understanding. The breezes that stir at the break of day, the soft flowing waters. If you think of the Baha'i element, we in the year, we start out with the element of fire, the stars of the heaven of understanding. Then we're going to air, the breezes that stir at the break of day, the soft flowing waters upon which must depend the very life of all men, in water. And we are in the element of water. And this last secret is about your birth month. And we'll get into that in a little bit. And with that, my presentation is over and I turn it back to Tamara.
Thank you so much, Cora. And thank you. Thank you very much for also kind of bringing into the conversation how we use the calendar. I really appreciate you giving some insight as to how you think about it. I hope to take a whole long time, but I'll touch on it a little bit about just the potentiality that's built into the calendar that I see. And we'll have lots of opportunities to explore this. But now let's talk a little bit about today. So, hello. Today is the month of Ilm. As we saw on Cora's calendar, we are in the month of knowledge, Ilm. I can't see diddly squat. Let's see if I can fix that because I can't see anything. Okay, yeah, so we're in the month of Ilm. We've been noticing, we are in the water months. And I'm going to take a pause a little bit in a little bit to kind of talk a little bit more about the months of water specifically. But this calendar icon of Ilm is also falling on the day of Ilm. Oops, let's go back. Okay, we're gonna go all the way back here. It's also falling on the day of Ilm. And so the card is the same, right? The month and the day today are the same. It is Ilm. It is the day of Ilm. It is the month of Ilm. And this quote here says, the source of all learning is the knowledge of God, exalted be his glory. And this cannot be attained save through the knowledge of his divine manifestation. And that's a quote from Baha'u'llah. And then also Baha'u'llah says, the third Tajalli is concerning arts, crafts, and sciences. Knowledge is as wings to man's life, and the ladder for his ascent. Its acquisition is incumbent upon everyone. The knowledge of such sciences, however, should be acquired as can profit the peoples of the earth, and not those which begin with words and end with words. So that's a very helpful distinction for us to think about. Additional definitions for Ilm found in the writings are wisdom and divine knowledge. So as Cora mentioned, on the West Coast, it's actually still Friday. So Friday, Istiqlal, independence. And so this is this symbol of Friday. You see that it's in the fire month. That I don't mean to say fire. I mean to say earth. It's in the earth element. And so you see the element of earth. The earth element is the most physical of the element, and it's represented by the body, the actual body. And material physicality and manifestation on the physical plane. And it is symbolized by the ruby. Let's see if I can read this. He says, "He hath said, O men, ye are but paupers in need of God, but God is the rich, the self-sufficing. By riches, therefore, is meant independence of all else but God, and by poverty, the lack of things that are of God." I like that definition of poverty and wealth. For those of us, however, on the East Coast, around minutes to 6 today, it actually became Saturday. And that is because the Badi calendar, as is true of many religious calendars, actually the day starts with sunset. And you can find the easy reference for this actually in the Bible, where it says the night and the day were the first day. That's in Genesis. And so the day actually begins the night before. And so we are now officially on Saturday here on the East Coast. And for this day, this is in the element of fire. Now, you heard me stumbling a little bit, and I was saying, oh, it's fire. No, 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 it's earth. And that's because we're so traditionally used to associating fire with red. But in the Badi calendar, fire is associated with white. The element color for fire is white. So a good way to remember that is think white hot. Right? That's a good way to think of it. The element of fire is the most spiritualized, the highest element. It is the one that is most associated with the inspiration. Its element, its representation in us is the heart, which is the heart is the seat of the spirit in the Baha'i writings. Its gemstone is the diamond. And again, so these are ideas of purity, right? That if we have pure hearts, we are channels for the divine inspiration that we can, attune ourselves to. And so this is a hint at just how I like to think about the coursing, the cycle of the elements through the calendars in the month and in the year, that we have this gradual bringing down of inspiration through ourselves and into the physical world. The quote that I offer here for the day of Jalal, which is glory and which is Saturday, says, "All praise, O my God, be to thee, who art the source of all glory and majesty, of greatness and honor, of sovereignty and dominion, of loftiness and grace, of awe and power." So just going very quickly again, here's the card so that you can see it, but I want to take another look at the actual elements showing on the card, starting with fire. So again, this is a representation of white hot fire. White hot fire. White fires actually can be very dangerous, but the interesting thing about it, and something that I found interesting while developing these cards, is it's really hard to see white. It's just really, really hard. Trying to represent white, you do a lot of black and you do a lot of gray, you do a lot of shadow work, because how do you see? But this is really very metaphorical to me, because this is the most spiritual, and you really do have to be paying a lot of attention to see the spiritual realm. So this is the element of fire, and within the fire again, it's represented in us as the heart of ourselves. The heart is the realm of the spirit, and it is the aspect of ourselves that is most aligned with inspiration from God. And again, we will hear from Nancy on this probably in another month or two, but the element, the gemstone that gives the element its color is the diamond. And we all know that the way that we most appreciate diamonds is when they are at their most pure. And when they are at their most pure, they are at their most clear. And so that's a good way to also reflect on the idea of diamonds. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing for just a minute. Okay, I want to share one more thing before I finish my presentation. Two more things, okay. Mhm. Okay, so I want to just take a moment to talk a little bit about what does fire mean. I hope you're seeing it. It says the months of glorification. Okay, we're not actually in the months of glorification. We're still in the months of water, but I just want to show you what the Bob has to say about the period, the first 3 months or the first 3 days within a month of glorification. It says during the first 3 months, the months of glorification, the fire of the hearts of existent beings is kindled. In other words, we're started on our journey. And so it's very significant that these are the very first months and the very first days that the spark is lit and we're sent on our way. And one more thing that I want to share, because I feel like we keep talking about water months and fire months and blah, 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 blah. And what does all of this even mean? So I just wanted to show you something because it's so cool. I think it's cool. Okay, let's see if I can find it. And she said she was going to show you a thing, but then she couldn't find it. Okay. So this very quickly, this is coming from I found this on Glenn Little's website. He has representations of the calendar, and this is a really great way to look at it. And as you can see, it puts fire in red, but it's not red. So, but this is actually a representation of how the elements in the calendar and in the months of in the days within the months of the calendar work. So the first 3 are fire, the next 4 are air, the next 6 are water. And again, this is our habit of thinking of water as blue, but in the body calendar, it's green. And the last 6 are earth. So we're in month 12, so we've got one more water month to go before we transition out of the months of water. Okay, and with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to Nancy.
Thank you, Tamara. Thank you, Cora. This is so exciting. I just love being on this Baha'i body calendar journey with you all and with our participants and having more and more of an understanding of why, Baha'u'llah came when he came and the Bab, started this calendar because right now in the time that we're living, we so need to be in touch with these things on a daily basis. The virtues that daily are invoked for our well-being, for our spiritual development and well-being. And it becomes more and more clear the more we study it. And I'm going to talk a little bit about one of the elements that Tamara mentioned, which was the gemstone of ruby, which actually happens to be both my birthstone and Tamara's birthstone, if I'm remembering correctly.
Well, yes.
Well, in the Gregorian month.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to get in the habit of yes, yes. But ruby, and I've I guess because it was my birthstone, I always loved them, the color and everything. And the 4 stones, just to kind of reiterate a little bit of some of what we talked about earlier, that the 4 main stones that the Bab brought forth for us to sort of have a relationship with was the ruby, the emerald, the diamond, and the sapphire. And they also have very ancient ramifications as well. So here it says the emotional healing and balance. That is what the ruby stone possesses, the healing power to heal emotional wounds and bring a sense of balance to life. Ruby stone is, well, as per ancient beliefs, the benefits of wearing ruby stone can boost energy levels and invigorate the body. The vibrant red color stimulates the heart chakra, promoting a sense of strength and vitality in the human body. The ultimate advantage of the ruby stone is that it helps overcome lethargy and procrastination and brings about a renewed sense of vigor, providing a fresh start all around.
Hmm. Wow.
And it's very powerful because the ruby's hue is close to the color of blood, which carries oxygen to all parts of the body. It is believed that the stone has the power to align and lend energy to the body. And, we're all connected, the elements, the minerals, oxygen, the whole periodic table, the stars, we're all, it's all running through us. So it makes sense that things so deeply embedded in the earth, like these gems, would have some kind of an impact somewhere in our atoms, our DNA. In various cultures, the ruby gemstone is seen as a symbol of wealth and prosperity. It is believed that owning or wearing a ruby stone can attract abundance into one's life. This meaningful thought about ruby stone is deeply rooted in historical context where aristocrats and rulers adorn themselves with rubies to signify their opulence. In other words, to show off. Ruby stones have long been associated with love and passion. In addition to their visual allure, ruby stone benefits encompass the ability to convey and amplify the intensity of emotions, making them a cherished and enduring choice for meaningful connections. Whether in the form of jewelry or as a gemstone, rubies carry a timeless message of passion and love. And these are the areas on the planet where rubies are likely to be found, along with the sapphire. And it's also part of the corundum species. That's where it gets its red color from the it gets its red color from the chromium. The red of the ruby is the only color variety not found in the sapphire. I thought that was interesting. Also, like the sapphire, significant ruby deposits have been found in Southeast Asia, which was Burma, now Myanmar was the main source, Eastern and Southern Africa, Middle East, Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, Australia, China. And I was so curious because when you look at a ruby and you look at a garnet, they look so similar, but they're quite much different. The ruby, like it says, gets its color from chromium. The garnet gets its color from iron, and it's a much softer stone than the ruby is. Rubies are thought to protect the wearer from negative entities and psychic attacks. And there you have just a little bit of information about the dynamic, beautiful, alluring ruby stone.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for also because I have always wondered how one was supposed to, okay, I was trying to add spotlights, not replace them. I've always wondered, how do you tell the difference between a ruby and a garnet? So now I know.
Me too. Like, I'm looking at a garnet, I'm looking at a ruby, they look exactly the same. But garnet actually can come in different shades, almost like brown and yellows and oranges. Rubies are red.
Wow. Yeah, and that makes sense because iron oxidizes, and so it does have different colorations. That's fascinating. Okay. Okay, well, according to our schedule, which I'm totally not looking at, let's see if I can find it. Okay, according to our schedule, we are now at the point of Cora taking us through birthday shout outs. Speaking of Ruby's.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned before, I think it's one of the untapped resources in the Baha'i calendar is the spiritual qualities that fall on our Gregorian birth dates. So, is there anyone in our audience who has their birthday in the month of knowledge in Gregorian calendar? That is October 14th to November 2nd. If there is anyone, can you put your name in the chat or raise your hand or?
I'm going to put my mom's name in the chat because her birthday was October 16th.
Aw.
Hmm.
Yeah, and actually one of my dearest friends' birthday was the 21st. It passed. I was
And Nancy,
traveling. Go
Hey,
ahead.
Gary.
hello, everyone. My mother's birthday is October 16th, and
Oh.
my daughter's birthday was yesterday, the 24th.
Oh my goodness.
And my
Same.
favorite aunt's is the 20th. So
Mhm.
Okay, well, we've got a few birthdays to celebrate. All
And,
right.
Free to
and
put your names in the chat if you'd like, Gary. I'm sorry, Cora, go ahead.
Gary, your daughter is born on the same day as my daughter. My daughter's birthday was yesterday also. And as I was saying, she was born on the might of knowledge. So, what does this mean if someone's born in the month of knowledge? What I have experienced when I ask people when their birthdays are, and whenever I meet the people who are born in the month of knowledge, they know things. I mean, they are a fount of knowledge. It's just amazing to me whenever I meet someone born in the month of knowledge because they are the ones that seem to know where this quote came from or where that fact is or what that fact is. And it comes to them so naturally. It's just one of their superpowers, it seems to me. And so we have a birthday song
We
for
do.
yay, for anyone born in the month of knowledge. And just, celebrate it.
Celebrate. I love it. I think my mom would have been 102 years old.
Trying
Wow.
to get the song to actually play. Let's see if it'll play. You gonna play?
And
Ah.
Nancy, what?
Through all the seasons, the ebbs and flow. For 19 months we've watched you grow. We all started you on your way.
Or not.
No, we can hear it.
Through all the seasons, the ebbs and flow. For 19 months we've watched you grow. We all started you on your way.
we had
Get
knowledge.
something done.
We had knowledge.
No, we don't want to stop. Okay.
It's a learning
Okay.
curve.
I totally do have it somewhere.
No,
Why
what?
we didn't make it into the slides. We will share that later.
You can go with Bill.
Something we need to learn. It's a new knowing.
Oh my gosh.
All good.
Ah, every day, every time it's something interesting. Yes, it's a learning curve. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for sharing the birthdays. Thank you, Cora, for your insights about what it could mean to be born in the month of knowledge. So I think all of this is wonderful to explore. We have next on our agenda to talk a little bit about this divine attribute. And so this is the segment of the program where we're going to have a dialogue, trialogue between the three of us. And we invite everyone in the audience to offer their thoughts and ideas in the chat. We will address any questions as we go along, if there are any questions. And then, of course, when we get to the art social portion, if we hadn't got to your question and you would like to ask a question, then they're welcome at that point. But right now, Cora, Nancy, and I are going to dig in a little bit and kind of see what we can unpack about this divine attribute of knowledge. And I think to kick us off, I'm going to pull up a quote that Nancy wanted us to kind of look at, because she decided that we have to work our brains a little bit, because it's the month of knowledge. So
I figure why not, right?
why not? Why not? Okay, let's see. Share. There you go.
I mean, I just feel like the calendar keeps us so rooted, you know.
Yes.
Oh, shall I read it?
Please.
Okay. Here we go. Know verily that knowledge is of two kinds, divine and satanic. The one welleth out from the fountain of divine inspiration. The other is but a reflection of vain and obscure thoughts. The source of the former is God himself. The motive force of the latter, the whisperings of selfish desire. The one is guided by the principle, fear ye God, God will teach you. The other is but a confirmation of the truth. Knowledge is the most grievous veil between man and his creator. The former bringeth forth the fruit of patience, of longing desire, of true understanding and love, whilst the latter can yield naught but arrogance, vainglory, and conceit. From the sayings of those masters of holy utterance, who have expounded the meaning of true knowledge, the odor of these dark teachings which have obscured the world can in no wise be detected. The tree of such teachings can yield no result except iniquity and rebellion, and beareth no fruit but hatred and envy. Its fruit is deadly poison, its shadow a consuming fire. From Baha'u'llah, Kitabi Igan. Yeah,
That was a lot.
it's a lot. I mean, that opening sentence, of two kinds,
Mhm.
divine and satanic. That's when we think about that.
Well, why were you drawn to this quote, Nancy?
Well, because I find so much truth in it.
Mm.
It's such a reflection of who we are as human beings, as spiritual beings, that we have both of those. We have that divine spirit, but often we're conflicted, and that other part is always right there, the satanic, if you will, satanic. So knowing that's part of our spiritual makeup, I thought is very interesting the way it's broken down in this quote. It's like Baha'u'llah is acknowledging, yes, there are these two kinds, and we have to be aware of it. And we know that when it's just focusing on just the satanic part, it's all selfish and ego and lower abasement. And so I just thought, since this was knowledge, it would just be a good quote to unpack and talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you did there, Cora. You answered a question with a question.
Well, I think it's such an interesting question, and it's one of those quotes that I really am appreciative of on the one hand, and then on the other hand, it is a little challenging for me. And the reason is because we live in a time where knowledge is vilified. Certainly in our country. knowledge is vilified. If something goes contrary to what people want to be true, then it must be fake news. Or if something is contrary to someone's firmly held religious beliefs, then it must be satanic. Baha'u'llah was abolished the burning of books, but we're in an age where that's the practice. We're not literally burning books, but we're banning them, right? That's now practice. And so it's a very slightly scary verse, this one where we're called to really acknowledge that there is a way that knowledge can be satanic. Because I feel there's a part of me that's really resistant. Like, no, I want to know everything, and I want to be completely the anti-knowledge thread that runs through a lot of our culture. But that said, right, the rest of the quote where it talks about the way that knowledge that is not tempered by the humility of honoring God, becomes so vainglorious and conceited and selfish, we see that all the time too. And if I'm being truthful with myself, I think that some of the backlash against knowledge in the world is because those who hold it selfishly.
Mm. Yeah, good point. Good
Well,
point.
when you were I'm sorry, were you going to say something, Cora?
No, go ahead.
It's kind of a tricky thing because, yeah, two kinds, divine and satanic, but also people they might kind of conflate or mix knowledge with truth, right? People might think, someone might say, well, this is my truth, right? And that could be true for them, right? Like right now, it's still Friday on the West Coast. That's true.
Right.
Right?
Right.
The body calendar, but for us, it's Friday. It's Saturday. It's what? No, for us,
Saturday.
It's Saturday, yes.
West Coast, it's Friday.
Yeah.
So these are two truths that are held simultaneously right now. But is that knowledge? Like, how are we defining knowledge? Are we defining knowledge as fact, just pure fact, like science? Or are we defining it as truth, which can be the same for some situations and quite the opposite for other situations?
I don't
I'm sorry, go ahead. I don't want to.
I love that you brought up how do we define knowledge, because in Tamara's card, she had the third Tajali, and it mentioned knowledge, sciences, and the arts. And I have been thinking about knowledge and art because we don't normally pair those two, right? We normally think of knowledge as straight from the intellect, and the arts is something maybe from the heart and inspiration. But Baha'u'llah put them together in one sentence with sciences. And I've just been, I don't have the answers, but I've just been trying to hold that together at the same time, just like your wonderful example of how here on the West Coast, it's a different day. It's Friday here. And over where you are, the sun has gone down and it's Saturday. These seemingly opposite truths being held together. It's a bigger knowledge, right?
Yeah, and I believe that quote says true knowledge, right? If I remember correctly.
Oh, let's see it. Let's see it.
Bring it back up.
The third Tajali.
The Tajali or
The knowledge card.
Oh, y'all gonna make me have to find my cards, are you?
Because I noticed it said true knowledge, which, that's a distinction, just,
Ah,
so I thought,
well, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
And
well,
and
I
again,
closed
we're
those
talking
parts. All right, well,
knowledge, fact, and truth. Someone facing me, their left is my right. But if they said I'm going left, I'm thinking, well, no, you're going right as far as my perspective is concerned. Because, sometimes it's all about perspective too.
right, good
okay.
point.
All right, well,
I'm
while I'm
looking.
figuring out where to find the cards, because I have hid them. Uh, I just want to, I think while I'm digging around and looking, I just want to speak a little bit on this idea of truth and knowledge, and what their distinctions are. And like, I'm a little resistant, right? There's a side of me that's resistant to the idea of looking at them as separate. Because in my thinking, knowledge is when you know something that is true. It's like to me, they're very related to each other. It's like, okay, it's Saturday on the East Coast. It's Friday on the West Coast. I know that, and so therefore that constitutes knowledge, right? The fact of it is the truth, right? It's not mutable, it's not changeable, but the acquisition of that information is knowledge. That's how I understand that, and that might be a very literal interpretation, but I can be that way sometimes, right?
Mm.
But I really do, and I'm still fussing with the cards, I'm sorry. I really do love, though, that idea of thinking about in what way are the arts knowledge, right? I love thinking that through.
Mhm.
Because one of the things that we know about the calendar is that every single month in the calendar also carries within it all the other elements within it. So like today is the day of glory. It's the day, the first, it's the first element in the calendar. It's the element of fire, that inspiration thing, that thing that is, but we don't have to know it unless we're attuned to it. And so, and it says the beginning of all knowledge is knowledge of God. It's like you have to start there in order to have any kind of access to, what we're trying to find on this card. Look, if I can find true knowledge. So it occurs to me that idea that we have, it's like a false dichotomy. We've grown up with a very false dichotomy of putting sciences over here and the arts over there. And I can share that in the at least in the world of science, and especially in the field that I work in, which is space and satellite field, there's an awareness of this. There's awareness that, you can't just have STEM education, you have to have STEAM education, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, right?
Mm.
There's an understanding that all of that constitutes proper knowledge in order to advance a society, and you want young people to have all of it.
So
Mm.
that's why knowledge has like multiple prongs. It is a collection of facts, and it is what you do with those facts. That brings on your wisdom, right? That first knowledge of God, right? That's our innate wisdom and understanding of our Creator, which allows us to recognize truth when we hear it, and which allows our wisdom to start to grow and form once we connect all of these different facts together. And that becomes our knowledge of things, these facts that we can assess and analyze and think about and put in perspective, apply, um, understand. When you're knowledgeable about something, it seems to me that it's multi-layered and nuanced,
Mhm.
and all of these words kind of circle around it: truth, wisdom, perspective, facts. All of them kind of fit in that puzzle somehow of what knowledge is. And I think what that quote is doing, though, it's making a distinction between that divine higher knowledge and a lower personal selfish knowledge, which can also have those same kind of things circling around it. But if you're not connected to the divine, it leads you to the destruction of yourself, to your ego, to selfishness and non-spiritual growth and capacity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And it's I feel like it's a fine line, because I really liked at the beginning of the quote also, it mentioned humility. And that's my safety zone, right? If I have some knowledge that I want to share, oh yay, Tamara's found it. Oh, well, I thought it was your card. Yes.
It's not, but I looked at my card, I was like, no,
Okay.
mine doesn't say anything about true, no, it's this one. This is the quote that has it about true knowledge.
Oh, this is the one. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
but your card, Tamara, is the one that mentions the arts and sciences.
Yes,
And that's
and I did find it, by the way. I
third
can
to
share that one
Jolly.
too, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I was mentioning humility, to be humble. That's my safe place when I feel like I'm on that edge. Is this knowledge that I have, coming from me or coming from the divine source? And turning to prayer and being humble is like I said, my safe place.
You know, Cora, you're saying a thing, and it's hearkening back to our last conversation about the difference between will and willful, right? And you know, right? Because it's the same issue, right? It's like, am I hearing what God wants me to hear? Am I learning what God wants me to learn? Or am I being stubborn and I'm making it say what I want it to say, right? Yeah, I think that that idea that humility is that mitigator, the thing that allows us to take a step back and step out of the equation as much as possible, is a really important thing, right? Because it's so easy to stray into the other way.
Mhm.
And the whole thing about creativity being divine
Mhm.
knowledge, I find that to be absolutely true, because it is a spiritual virtue, I think, creativity, right? And I experience it a lot as a creative person, that this knowledge, this creativity is not of me. It's really not. And it's, it's really a very spiritual experience when that happens, especially in my writing. Like I do crafty things, right? I get paper, I make dolls, and I do all this stuff, and I know that's me. But even the inspiration to put the certain materials together, and I hear artists talk about this all the time, collage artists and people, they say they wait for the material to tell them what to do and how to put it together. And I feel the same way when I'm creating, either writing. I listen to my characters and I tell them to tell me their story, and I'm just the scribe, essentially. And the knowledge part is how truthfully it rings to the ear of the receiver. That to me is the confirmation that it's the divine and not me at all. Yeah.
I feel like we should plan one of the upcoming podcasts to really kind of talk about specifically the nature of an attribute and what makes it divine. When you were saying that, I was just remembering the idea of God the creator and God the fashioner, right?
Mhm.
And that we understand the height of creativity and the height of fashioning because we have that as an attribute of God and that we strive to live into it. It's just such an interesting and turn of our thought process that I think it's worthwhile having a conversation. Hey, we're on 7 seconds left.
It all comes together with the body calendar, having us take your bow.
Oh, I'm so disappointed. I found out that that doesn't show up on the recording. It just, we
Oh.
can hear it, but the
Oh,
recording
really?
doesn't capture it.
Oh.
Yeah, we need something else to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Mm.
everyone,
Have
thank
any
you so much for hanging out with us. If there are any questions, yes, as you said, Nancy, then please jump in because this is the time. I'm actually going to stop the recording. As soon as I figure out, yeah, okay, stop.
questions?
Yes.
So who do we have here?